Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our producer, Jeff Durall. We're at the offices of CASA, the court-appointed Special Advocates Office, located now on West 13th in the Beaker Insurance Agency building, and we're on the second floor with the Executive Director, Lindsey Crisenbery. Lyndsey is the Executive Director of CASA. So to begin with, talk a little about CASA and its local history, would you, Lyndsey?
Sure. CASA actually started in Seattle because a judge wanted extra eyes on some of the more challenging cases. So in 1989, it actually started, we had our first board meeting here in Hayes to start the program here.
And CASA, starting locally then, started with a few volunteers. How did that all come about? Did it start with the impetus from the courts or volunteers or individuals who got interested in this? What happened there?
It started with community members and the court system and the judges that felt that CASA would be valued in this community and was needed in this community. And so they actually got the program started, built the board, and then they started recruiting volunteers. I think they started with maybe 2 or 3 volunteers at the beginning, and then it's built from there.
And how about now? How many volunteers approximately do you have on a continuing basis?
We typically have between 10 to 15. Right now we have 13 active volunteers.
You're Executive Director, so how did you become involved?
My history is with early childhood education, and then when this job opened up, I went ahead and applied. It sounded like it was a good fit, and that's...
How long have you been in place now?
A little over a year. It was a year in September.
Early childhood development, how did you get involved in that?
Well, my actual degree is in social work, and then I just really like children, and so I worked at the Hayes Area Children's Center for a little bit, helping child care providers and improve the quality of their care. And then when this opened up, I moved over here. I felt like these kids needed some
that's
good
a
attention.
natural, Lyndsey, with your work in social work through your training. Are you a Fort Hays graduate?
Yes, yes.
Glad you stayed in the community, by the way. It's
Well,
good to
thank
have talented people who serve in organizations. As Executive Director, what are your duties?
I help to recruit the volunteers, train the volunteers. I make sure that all of the children's cases are organized. I place volunteers on their cases with the assistance of the court. Then I do the grant writing and the fundraising and a lot of stuff.
Just a lot of things. All right, let's talk about the children themselves. Who are the children of CASA, the court-appointed special advocate?
Who we serve the children that the court has deemed to be abused or neglected. And CASAs, because there's so many children in the community that are in the court system, CASAs are typically only placed on the most needy cases, the cases where it's either the abuse and neglect is just very severe, or the case is just very complicated. There's a lot of players, maybe there's a lot of dads involved with one case, and so those are usually the ones just to help keep it organized and keep some extra eyes on the situation.
Could be from divorce situations, could be from extended families, could be from grandparents' involvement. A lot of different parts to this puzzle, aren't there, Lyndsey?
Yes.
Okay, now the ages of these young people. Where does the court get involved in situations like this?
We serve kids ages 0 to 18 years of age. So any child that's, if the court feels like that child has been abused or neglected, then we could serve that child.
Below what we would think of as the legal age then, basically, for a child.
Yes.
So the purpose of CASA then is to intervene. How does that work? Give us some particulars there, Lyndsey.
Sure. Well, to become a CASA volunteer in the first place, you have to go through an extensive background check, and you have to take 30 hours of training just to learn how to talk to the child, the parents. We talk to anybody that could be involved in that child's case. So we talk to the schools, we talk to their doctors, we talk to their lawyers, their parents, their foster parents, grandparents, anybody that has an interest in this child. We communicate with them. Once we've gathered this information and we've built a relationship with the child, we report back to the court what we feel is in that child's best interest. If we think that that child maybe needs to stay in foster care a little longer so mom and dad have the opportunity to get things back on track, we might recommend that to the court. Or if we think that mom and dad are doing fine and the child's ready to go, we'll let the court know that also. There are some incidences where we don't think the child's going to be able to go home. It's just not a safe situation. And so we will recommend a different placement. But our goal is always to find the child a safe, permanent home as quickly as possible.
And I know from past experience in visiting with folks that are involved with CASA, the court-appointed special advocates, that the judges really do consider heavily the weight of the CASA volunteers' input.
Yes, they do. They really, the court reports are written. They really do read them over, look over them, ask us questions on occasion if they need clarification, but it does weigh heavily.
The young people, again, that are in the court system, it's through no fault of their own, basically, isn't it?
Correct. These children have either been abused or neglected by their caretakers, whoever that may have been. And really, before CASA even gets involved, the court has to decide that this actually occurred. So it's really the kids that they haven't done anything wrong. It's just their circumstances, the situations that they lived in, but they need a little extra attention on their case.
So again, you're in cooperation and collaboration with the law enforcement too.
Yes, we do. As we get to know the police officers, as the cases open up, CASA is usually not involved when the case first opens up. We don't get involved until after adjudication, until the court has decided that, yes, this child has been abused or neglected and needs involvement. So that's when we come in. So we do have, we see the police. If something happens, they might contact us. But typically we are more involved with the lawyers and the judges and St. Francis, who does the social work side.
Well, and these young people that do become involved in the court system through no fault of their own really can depend on the support of the volunteers, can't they? Because, the court situation, the whole legal process, especially for a young person, even for adults, I think, can be sometimes pretty, scary would be one word, and yet intimidating another, perhaps.
Yes, and, and it's complicated. Sometimes they don't understand if they choose to come to court, which they can choose to come to court, they might not always understand what's being, a review in 90 days. They might not understand what that means. And so we help explain that to them if they need that. And usually a CASA volunteer sticks with the child from the moment they're placed on the case until their case is closed. And that's usually at least a year that we're with that one child. And oftentimes we're the only continuous person on their case. Their lawyers might change, their social workers might change, but their CASA volunteer stays the same.
Who are these CASA volunteers, Lyndsey?
They are just individuals in the community that have a desire to help these kids. All of them have to go through an extensive background check, but they're interested in helping the kids. They're just community members that have taken the time to go through this training and really put themselves out there to make sure these kids are getting what they need.
Is there a typical CASA volunteer? From my experience, it's been all ages, all situations, whether they be college students, retired people, people that are in the professions now, a lot of different areas of expertise brought to this.
Yes, and the only thing that we do have a requirement is that CASA volunteers have to be at least 21 years of age. But as far as we have a variety of ages, ethnicities, we want new, different people coming in that have a good background and really have a desire to work with the kids and that can relate to the children.
How about funding? How does CASA receive funding?
Most of our funding comes through either grants, such as United Way or the Kansas Permanent Families Fund, and then other grant opportunities that are available. And then we also do fundraisers. And we have a major fundraiser coming up, the Valentines fundraiser event.
Really your biggest one, isn't
Yes.
it? All right. look at Jeff there if you would, and tell us about that fundraiser and invite people to come.
Sure. Our fundraiser, our Valentines Evening, it's February 14th, and it starts at 6 p.m. at the Rose Garden Banquet Hall. The tickets to the event are $30, or you can purchase a table for $210, which would seat 8 people. All of the proceeds that we earn go directly to recruitment and training of our volunteers.
Now, you can buy individual tickets,
Yes.
or you can buy a table if you'd like.
Correct.
And all are invited, basically, right?
Yes, anybody's invited. It's a live and silent auction. Also, the Flatland Band will be performing after the live auction, and there's also a really nice dinner that'll be included.
So again, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 6 p.m. for the cocktail hour, silent auction follows, and then at 7, the dinner, followed by the auction at 8:30 again.
Yes.
Are you soliciting for the auction gifts, donations?
Yes, we've sent out requests to the community to donate some items. We've got some really cool things coming. We've got a very nice recliner that's been donated. We've got tickets to Disney this year. We've got Schlitterbahn tickets, and just all over the place. We've got some really cool auction items. A lot of the salons have donated products and facials.
So you can get community support then
Yes.
through donated items
Yes.
at the auction. All right, how do we get tickets then, Lyndsey?
Yep, you can either call our office, which is 785-628-8641. You can also pick up tickets at Eagle Communications inside the large Dillon's on Vine, or the main Commerce Bank on Vine Street.
And $30 per ticket. This
Yes.
is this is your major fundraiser then.
Yes, this is our big event.
You get some United Way help, some from the state.
Yes.
I suppose that's probably been cut back though, hasn't it, over a
That-
period of time?
It's a formula that they use, so if the number of children increase that we serve, that funding can go up or down, but it has been cut a little, yeah.
But at least it's dependent upon the number of children you're
Yes.
serving then.
Yes.
How about those numbers? Have they increased over the years, Lyndsey?
We're serving about 20, we have about 13 volunteers serving 23 children right now, which is pretty good. The only thing is in 2014, actually there were 102 new cases opened up, and 92 of those were from Ellis County. So we always need more volunteers to serve more of the children, but the numbers have increased that we've been serving.
And that training, the 30 hours of training, is to protect the children, basically, to make sure that your volunteers indeed have a responsibility to the children and an interest in those children.
Right. And the skills to communicate back with the court system. We really teach them their communication skills is what we work on.
Well, once again, I want you to make your plea to those that might want to volunteer.
Yes. If you're interested in becoming a CASA volunteer, you can either stop by our office at 107 West 13th inside Beaker Insurance, or you can fill out an application online at kansascasa.org. The volunteers are very needed. The court system really supports them, and you have a support system here at CASA as well. So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, just contact me and we can get you started.
Now, the Valentine's Evening to benefit a child in need is in memory of Brenda Gable.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Sure. Brenda Gable was a CASA volunteer when she was in college. Later in life, she joined CASA's board of directors, and last year, just before our major event, she became ill. And just after the event, she passed away. So this year, we're honoring her and her services to CASA.
A long-time dedicated volunteer.
Yes.
In memory of Brenda Gable. The CASA Valentine's Evening to benefit a child in need, February 14th, 6 p.m. for the cocktail hour. It'll be held at the Rose Garden Steakhouse, and you can call the CASA office for additional information. Tickets $30 each, or certainly for further information if you'd like to become a CASA volunteer. The person to contact is Lindsey Crisenbery, Executive Director of CASA, the court-appointed special advocates, our community connection. Thanks for watching.